Every company needs an accountant.
Take opportunities, be open to learning, have fun.
Top 5.
Yeah.
Wow, I actually have more insight on accounting.
Thank you for tuning into today's podcast with Accounting Plus. Today we will be talking about accounting skills to uplift your community. Joining me today is Mohammed Bande, who is a Financial Due Diligence Senior Associate at KPMG, as well as Joseph Olalisi, who is a Senior Associate at RSL in the Risk Financial Practice. What is your work-life balance like?
Working in public accounting, obviously, our work-life balance will look different, for everybody. So I'm fortunate enough to be with KPMG, that we have this program called Team of Choice, and they allow pretty much professionals to break, during the day, right? You can take some time, and these are things you can discuss with, your team members or teammates, right? You can dispose of your day the way you see fit, right? As long as, you are being intentional about, the work that you're doing. And as far as I'm concerned, I'm really intentional about how I spend my time outside of work, right? And I'm a firm believer of, the power of simple pleasures of life. I think, we don't speak about that enough. Mental health is really important, right?
So important.
A little self-care goes a long way, right? And and it's also a way for the professional to avoid burnout, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes watching the shows that I like on TV, or just like lounging on the couch, right? But when I want to recharge, I like getting to nature on a good hike, because there's just something about the fresh air, when you go out in the woods and the sun on trees, right? I live in Minnesota particularly, so we don't get the good weather all the time. And winter,
I get it. I'm in Texas.
Exactly. Winter is not something that I really truly enjoy. It's really hard for me during winter. So whenever I have like the 5 months during the year, I tend to take advantage of it, to the maximum.
Nice. Good work-life balance. All of that. What about you, Chase?
My work-life balance is all about communication.
Yeah.
Communicating with myself, my responsibilities, but then also communicating that with other people and my teams and people that are counting on me for different things, and me counting on myself to care about my mental health,
Right.
and to care about my own. So it's all about communicating with all of these different stakeholders that create who is Joseph.
Yeah.
Right. So some things that I do, I have a calendar. Right. I have a calendar on my wall, and then I got a calendar on my laptop, and then I have a list, and we got all these different things that's trying to keep
busy.
Just trying to help me communicate to myself and to other people. How am I balancing out all of these different obligations, not even obligations, but different things, opportunities, right, in my life to show up. Other than that, I live in Chicago, so, I try to go and do fun things when it is the summer. And, I like stand-up and public speaking.
Too.
Yeah, okay. My cousin. No, I'm joking. So even, for example, is one thing, I'm a member of Toastmasters International, so on Saturday.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a good guy.
Yeah, see, both of you guys. Yeah.
All right, so I go do public speaking classes and
that's cool.
go out with my team, have some friends, go out and hang out with friends. I will say, it's not easy. Work-life balance isn't easy, and it's a continuous challenge that you have to fight in your life. Yeah, I gotta add now that you're here, just to add on something I didn't say. So, because I have all these things going on, right? I actually, for the last 2 years at RSM, I've been on a flexible schedule. So, when I got into my master's program, I requested to be able to work between 160% of my actual schedule to be able to pursue things like a master's program. And so that's communicating that I have an opportunity, having that conversation, and then we find resources that allow me to balance all of those opportunities out. And so I think that's like a great example of the different opportunities out there that helps with work-life balance when you're communicating it out.
Yeah, definitely. How do you incorporate your personal values and passion into work as an accountant?
I live essentially by 3 values. One is always put God first in whatever I do. I'm a firm believer of, that there is a higher power above us, above, myself. And 2, working hard, right? Not complain. Be content with what I have. And if I want more, always go and look for it. Right? I don't take anything for granted. And number 3, show gratitude for whatever I have, because I believe that's the only way I can increase whatever I have, right? And the way I show gratitude is actually going out there and giving back to the community that I took from, right? So in each of the experiences that I had in my community engagement in the different, organizations that I'm involved with, I will argue that each one of those experiences made me a better accountant, right? And the reason why I'm saying it made me a better accountant is because by getting involved in those communities, I get to build human skills, my technical skills that I can actually, those are skills that are transferable into the professional work that I'm doing, right? Because accounting is just, it's more than just number crunching. You're working with people that have feelings, right? That actually are also human just like you, right? They also want their career to progress, right? So being able to empathize with the people that you're working with, right? You have to also, know the people outside of that working environment. So that, once in the corporate world now, while I'm, going up the ladder, I understood how valuable that experience was, right? Being able to, get along with your teammates, right? Being able to manage down, manage up, right? Giving feedback, right? Those things, because you get to do that on the personal level outside. And also my experience as a tutor, right? Taught me patience, right? Understand my crafts and being able to communicate in the way that somebody that doesn't speak my language understands it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So as an accountant or senior accountant, I got to work with people, that are, less experienced as me, right? So I get to explain, they ask me questions, I get to explain things to them, right? So that proved to be valuable to me, right?
Yeah.
So then when I joined, it helped me really, go fast, climb the ladder faster, because I understood certain things that maybe, I wouldn't have had, if I wasn't in that position. And doing it genuinely because I love doing it, right? Yeah. Translate it into valuable skills.
And I love how you pointed out, and you didn't know that you pointed out, but like soft skills matter to go with your technical skills. And just learned earlier today that soft skills are actually your power skills, because once you enhance your soft skills, that's what helps you become powerful. So I just love that you highlighted that. So that's beautiful. What about you, Joseph?
Well, yeah, I really agree with everything that you just said about the core values that you had. And I would share the same sentiments about the core values that you have. It's to flip it into a different perspective. The way I was thinking about it is they're in the same values. Yeah. Just with great power comes with great responsibility. But I guess when I think about that, I think about it in the analogy of the door, opening the door, having an opportunity to open this door. And so you study accounting, and so you have the power to open the door into a career in accounting. Yep. Maybe that you don't, people in your community don't have that opportunity. Yeah. They don't have that power to open that door. They didn't take the accounting classes. Are you gonna, with that power, are you gonna be responsible for? Are you gonna take the opportunities, be responsible for the opportunities that are available to you? Or you worked in accounting for this long. And so now you're in the room, and now you have the power to open the door for somebody else. And where accounting collides is when we are trying to calculate and assess what type of social impact, how is this looking in practice, and what is our numbers that shows that what we're doing and how we are explaining that we're impacting our community socially, is it actually creating this value? Yeah. I think that's where accounting comes into play. And even when you think about auditors or, auditors, right? They come and assess communities and, or companies.
Companies, yes.
And companies have a brand, and they say that, Subway, we always eating fresh or something. I don't know if that's still their thing. Yeah. I think they have something different, but there must be something. People account for those. People are calculating the value behind that, or different non-for-profits or government entities. I'd say in accounting at RSM, I do focus in the government industry. So I have the opportunity to work with a large amount of different government clients and review their financial statements so that people can understand. I'm basically sitting on behalf of the people that are paying the tax dollars to fund these government programs, and I'm assessing these financial statements to confirm that what people are paying for, that's actually showing up in the value and the financial statements and the assessments and the reports of these different government programs. And so that's why auditors are actually, the accountants are so important, even internally. So the staff accountants that are working at these different companies or government entities, they are assessing in real time the impact of the different systems that are going on. And but then you have the external people coming in on behalf of the people to give an independent report assessment on the output of the social impact strategies that these different companies have, and so that's where accounting kind of collides with social impact. We are basically the doctor kind of trying to hear, and understand. Audit actually means, I'm sorry, I'm going on a tangent.
No, it's perfect.
I would love to
Great
just talk about
answer.
this for a second.
Yeah.
So audit comes from audio, and it's to hear.
That's cool.
Audio is to hear. And when you think about auditors, they are coming in to hear and listen to a company over a period of time. And it's almost like a doctor checkup.
Yeah.
How is the health of this company, and how let me come and put a close ear and listen to these different companies and make sure that it's healthy. If you really want to make social impact, you need some people to be accounting for it.
Yeah, definitely. I love that. That's such a wonderful answer, and you gave me a new insight and perspective on how it intersects. What advice do you have for students who are passionate about social impact and are interested in careers in accounting?
I would love to go first on that question. My advice would be, I have two things. So first, be passionate and let that story push you forward. Don't worry about, what, if you don't do good in your first accounting class. And sometimes I tell people, this is a true story. Actually, I failed financial accounting the first time I took it. But I was very passionate about how do I account for my community's resources. And I found accounting was the language to be able to understand that and account for that. And so that story is the thing that pushed me forward. It wasn't just because I like numbers.
Right.
So if you are passionate, be confident in your passion and let that drive you forward.
Yeah.
Another thing I think is a great space to build your skills and also cultivate that passion is through learning and getting involved with volunteer tax filing. I talked about it previously, but the Volunteer Income Taxpayer Program with the IRS is a great program where you are able to learn how to file the 1040, the tax return for individual taxpayers, and you go out in the community and you file that for residents pro bono, right?
Yeah.
And what that allows you to do is to study policies. You're studying accounting. You're studying and practicing how to look at the regulations and understand how to properly assess values that directly affect your community. And then you get to file taxes in your community. You get to file taxes, and maybe, some people don't do this, but I do this. Like, I file taxes for my mom and my auntie too.
Right.
I actually work in consulting, but this is something I just do.
Yeah.
Because it allows me to show up and just let out that passion that I have for wanting this accounting background to apply in my everyday life and the life of my community as close as possible. I think it's a great space to start your interest, and slowly you get to be able to cultivate your passion, but then you also slowly get to integrate and understand the accounting system and find a space where you can see yourself actively affecting your community, actively affecting the people you know, but then also learning and building those accounting skills.
Yeah.
And regardless, never give up.
Right.
And push for your passion.
Yes, I love that. Do you have anything to add, Mohammed?
Yeah, absolutely. I think what he said is really a point, and I would go a step further by saying by pushing your passion, right? I will add to that, actually determine what your passion actually is in the social impact world, because it's broad, right? I would argue, to broaden your skill set, right? Accounting is just like one side of, the impact accounting, right? You can take courseworks, that are beyond just accounting, right?
Yeah.
You can take, courses on social entrepreneurship, right? Sustainability, ESG, right? Those are actually notions that fit into the social impact that you want to make, right? So once you have that, actually have practical experience, right? Get involved, go out there, get involved in the community, right? And put into practice what you are learning. See how it applies to the real world, right? And see whether or not you actually like it, right? So once you like it, now you get to narrow down your passion and focus on something that you want to do, right? And what a better way of actually consolidating that by, exploring certifications, right?
Right.
So then, if you're truly passionate about, social impact as an accountant, you also want to consider, other certifications that are within the field of that, right? And once you do that, obviously, you network, just like he said, right? And, and the rest is going to be just
history. I love that. Can you explain how you can use accounting to uplift the community?
Yeah, no, I really love that question.
Yes.
And the brother here earlier said something about the involvement that he has in the community, right? So I'm using that as a way, right? What he's doing is called pro bono work, right? Nobody's paying you for it, right? So doing pro bono work as an expert accountant, right? You actually offer your services for free, because your impact there is actually far richer than you will think. By presenting accurate information, these organizations can do a lot more work in the community because they can secure donations from trusted donors, right? They know that okay, there are funds being used appropriately. No scheme is is happening in the background, right? And these organizations are small businesses, right? It doesn't have to be, a non-profit, but it could be small business, mom and pop shops, right? These guys, don't have as much resources, right? Offer your services to them at a reduced cost. Allow them to actually, hold the economy.
Yeah.
These guys are the ones that employ, people that are starting fresh, right? Giving the chances to people that don't have certain degrees, right? So it's really hold the economy.
So what do you do in those moments where you find yourself discouraged in order for you to continue to keep going and push through?
Everybody's journey is unique.
Yeah.
Everybody has their own journey. And I make sure that I stay grounded in that.
Yeah.
This is my journey.
Right, yeah.
And I have the opportunity to be in these different spaces and contribute and show up.
Yeah.
And I'm not looking at other people. I'm not looking at and comparing. These are my teammates.
Right.
These are the people that I have to connect with to push the needle forward. And I think if I stay in that mindset.
Yeah.
I embrace my wins and my impact that I make. I make great impact.
Yeah.
I bring great value to my teams.
Yeah.
I bring great value to my communities.
Yes.
That's something that helps me stay grounded. And they just kind of talks about how you're in your own unique journey.
Yeah.
And being proud of that, and you're where you're at for a reason.
Yep.
You're not there for no reason, and if you weren't bringing value, then you wouldn't be there.
That's true.
So I think that just these different types of things, just making sure that you are staying grounded in yourself, and you keep pursuing. You keep doing your thing, and things will happen, and you're gonna be where you need to be where you are when you need to be there. And,
Right.
and that's what keeps me grounded. Giving myself grace in my life and looking and thinking about the impact that I make, and that's what pushes me forward.
Thank you guys so much for being here. I'm so appreciative of you guys being in this room today. I'm so grateful. I'm blessed. I'm honored. Can you guys just give a little bit of a plug in on the networks that you have going on so that they can kind of connect with you?
I'm present on LinkedIn, so that's one of the avenues, and perhaps the only avenue you can reach. I mean, you can really get in contact with me.
And how can they stay connected with you?
Right. Definitely LinkedIn as well. My name is Joseph Olalusi. Stay connected, please. I don't bite, and I do want to be and show up
Yes.
for people to learn more and cultivate their interest and journey to press forward in the world. So if I can do anything to help out with that, please reach out.
Yeah.
Let's share some conversation, and that's what it's all about. So.
Yeah, and that's just awesome. Thank you so much. You guys rock. You guys are Black excellence, success, literally walking success. And we appreciate you on behalf of Accounting Plus. We appreciate you guys for taking the time out of your busy schedule just to come talk to us. I also want to give a big, huge shout out to Accounting Plus before we do end our podcast today. We really appreciate you guys for having this platform and being such a major resource to high school students and college students like myself who are interested in accounting.
To start your journey in accounting, visit joinaccountingplus.com.